As I continually try to express through my videos, Qigong is about building power of the human body through correct biomechanics and application of whole body, what is called in Chinese internal movement. Now, this way of internal movement is actually a compound whole body sporting movement. Okay, the thing that's different from, say, Qigong internal movement and, say, a Western exercise is the Western exercise, whilst it can be a whole body movement, such as maybe throwing a javelin, the idea of internal movement is everything comes from the center. And so I've explained this in a previous video where I like to think of my pelvic bowl and slightly a little bit of my lower tummy, which is called lower dantian in Chinese, as being a giant jellyfish that lives inside me, that primordial single cell organism that evolved into all the different animals through the tree of evolution into the human being, lives down here. And it's through moving this jellyfish that we can get our body to move. Now that's very loose and disorganized, but this is essentially how we move from our jellyfish. But the most important part is how we drive power through the body. Now, any good boxer will tell you that you drive power from your legs. You don't punch with your fist, that's just the end implement. You punch with your feet, your legs, and your butt, right? So, we do exactly the same thing in Qigong. We're meant to derive our energy from the earth. Now, that sounds really mystical, right? We've got to derive our energy from the earth. And whilst we can take that into an esoteric perspective, and definitely through doing lots of Qigong and Taiji, I can say what it feels like when the earth does kind of enter my body. But the most important thing is we join it with the exoteric, the physical reality of human biomechanics. So to explain this to you today, I am going to show you a little Chinese boxing kata method that I was just practicing then, but I'm going to do it in a couple of different ways to explain how Qigong creates power for the body. And the best way to do this is through a martial art, through a striking drill, because even though we might be doing exercises in our Qigong that aren't martially orientated, right? They're not about fighting, they're not about hurting, they're about accumulating Qi. The body mechanics are the same. So in a previous video you may find down on my wall here, I said that what Qigong once gave Taiji, because Tai Chi came from a Qigong practice, Tai Chi can now give back to Qigong. And so through being a martial artist and learning how to use these body mechanics to drive my Qigong practice, to build Qi, to ground, to find my center, to strengthen my body and gain power. And not magical, mystical, no-touch Qi power, but real-life body empowerment through movement, through being able to infuse principles, qualities, philosophies, and basically download knowledge into wisdom in the body. And so I go into this in the Shamanic Qigong course I'm running soon, and we're going to be using Qigong to pull in concepts and reprogram our neuromuscular, our neural activity in our body to reprogram ourselves in a new way. So when we're doing our Taiji, we're using this way of moving to reprogram martial arts movements and survival mechanisms into our body. So, we sink down into the legs, right? Because in Qigong, we're always nice and grounded. A good boxer will ground down into his saddle, into his horse stance. Oh, my sexy legs, right? So, I'm standing here, right? Now, as I've said, the movement in Qigong is a standing pandiculation. All mammals pandiculate to program movement patterns into their body and to release tension. Stretching doesn't release tension, okay? Stretching creates tension, especially if you're in it for a long time. It lengthens the muscle temporarily before twang, it comes back. Pandiculation is about softening, and Taiji people use this, and Qigong people use this to create soft but robust, strong bodies, right? So, I'm standing here in my little Chinese boxing stance, right? I'm going to protect my head and strike out. Whop, as I come back. I'm going to turn back, re-strike, strike the head there, block another arm, and strike into the face, right? So this is a multiple attack thing. Someone's throwing in a punch, I block it, strike, 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 coming back, re-blocking that arm and striking them. Bam! Now what you'll notice is my pelvis moving here. This jellyfish is going to drive the movement. Turn. See how there's a turn and then my body sort of drags behind. Turn. I'm pushing with my leg to rotate my body. 1, 2, 3, bop. Okay? Now, we would do this as a pandiculation, and what I'm doing here still isn't it, because I'm kind of describing what I'm doing at the moment, right? But when we turn it into like a Qigong movement, I'm going to do it very slow, because getting that movement rapidly, I've got to change this movement from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? If I do it slowly and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, my body is only ever going to know this as a broken up, discombobulated thing. And so the reason, one of the reasons anyway, that the Taiji people took Qigong was they realized it turned all the different body parts of arms and legs into one single movement driven by the core of the body. So if my body turns, I can get one foot to push, one foot to receive, one arm to do something, the other arm to do something, and it's just one turn of the body, and my jellyfish allows my intent to create a shape in my body that ripples through because the jellyfish has moved, right? The jellyfish. Okay. I've had a few people go, I love how you call it the jellyfish. Yes, the jellyfish lives in my pelvis, right? So, okay, I can do this as a Qigong. And I'm pushing, I'm sending and receiving, I'm applying all these different principles of Qigong to create a movement which has power. So, if I was to come over for the punching bag for a moment, sorry, I know I've disappeared, that if I turn, see the bag, I'm not striking it, but my arm and my body has structure that can put pressure on the bag. It's not like I'm so soft that when I come in I'm like, and crumpling up, right? Because I can't supply body structure. So I turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? I pandiculate through this to program, pushing from my front leg. My back leg is receiving that pressure. Come through, bop, bop, bah, and I'm driving that from rotation of the body. I'm feeling each of the muscles express. So whilst this side stretches, this side compresses, I'm feeling every minute movement of my body through that transitional movement. That's the mindfulness. It's an investigation of how my body mechanics work to create power through my body. Now, I don't need to do it fast to generate that power, which is why a lot of Qigong is slow. And in fact, doing it very slowly is an isometric strength exercise that builds structure of the body, but not physical strength. And this is what we want. We want structure. We want biomechanics. We're not looking for raw, brute, muscular strength in Qigong or Taiji necessarily, right? So, once I've practiced this a lot slow, I can actually build this up to be a bit more of a flow drill. I'm still pandiculating, I'm still feeling all that movement. I can still drive my body through that thing. I turn it all into one. I'm just going to shake. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Bah. 1, 2, 3. Then when we want to turn this into a martial, when we're doing Taiji, and remember, there's a difference here. I'm just using Taiji and boxing to explain how we might pandiculate and use whole body movement to create the ability to create a whole body ripple to do a movement. Now that was the same Qigong movement, just done explosively in a thing called Fajing, explosive energy. So I've exploded the body and used my jellyfish and my core to create quite an explosive movement. When we do it in our Qigong, we might do it slowly because we're trying to investigate the body. We're not wanting to expend resource, we're wanting to build biological resource. So we do it slowly and we learn and we investigate the body. This is the mindfulness aspect of learning Qigong. So, To show how that Qigong that I just did might build power, it's going, it's just a shake. I'm not thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm thinking 1, and I just explosively get my core and shake it. And through the shaking, because I'm loose, because it's a pandiculation, I'm driving the power out my limbs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? It's a whole shake of the body. So this is why I say that Taiji can now give this whole body movement back to Qigong. So when we're doing our Qigong, we're learning how the body mechanics of driving power from the ground up through our body can create body movement. It helps us to learn to surrender to the earth, giving up of our body, but having a clear intent and allowing our unconscious mind to reprogram and to mindfully and intentfully create a body movement. So guys, this was how Qigong creates whole body movement, whole body power. If you're interested in learning more about how to use internal movement to heal your body, heal your mind, learn to ground, learn to center, how to infuse principles of natural law into your body, Qigong is a great method. Now, it doesn't matter if you're really healthy or if you're really unwell, if you're old or really young. Qigong is an excellent way to begin working with our physiology, to learn how to drive power, how to infuse power into our physical body. Okay, guys, I'll leave it here because, again, I'm talking too long. So thank you so much. My name is Nicholas Blewett from QiFit. If you like my video, give me a like, leave me a comment. If you're interested in studying Qigong, learning Taiji, I have a shamanic Qigong course coming up soon. It's all online, 10 weeks. And I also have a teacher training program that I run that starts to teach people this way of moving and how to begin infusing whole body movement, how to generate whole body power, working through body mechanics to build your energy system, your natural biological energy system through Qigong. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. I hope you're in good health.